Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Mark, Steve, Tim.
And we've just finished playing Rising Sun, which is the new sort of epic dudes on a map game from Simon. And just to say, first of all, if we look at this, the component quality is stunning. These miniatures really look fantastic. The detail on these is superb. But essentially, as you might expect, it's Japan, and you're taking a set of armies, so you have some basic guys. It's possible to get these extra monsters to add to your army as well, but you kind of spread out on this map of Japan, trying to conquer territory, but ultimately it's about getting victory points. So there is a victory point tracker you can see around here, and at the end, whoever gets the most victory points wins. But as you might expect, you're getting victory points for conquering territory a lot of the time. Now, in terms of how you actually play the game, there's a nice action selection mechanism. So you draft, just pass me a few of these tiles. So when it's your go, you get a selection of these tiles, and you're going to pick one of them to play. And it's a bit like Puerto Rico, if you're familiar with that. So, for example, if you pick Marshall, you place it along here. These are the actions we've actually picked throughout this particular season of the game. And whatever action you pick, everybody gets to do that action, but whoever picks it gets to do a bonus action. Now, one interesting part of this game is it's possible to ally with other players, and each character has their own sort of matching coloured yin-yang half, and if you ally with someone else, you put them together like this on the board, so everyone knows, in this case, yellow and red are allies. And if your ally, let's say, picks one of these roles, then you get the bonus as well. So every time these roles are picked, the two allies get the bonus, but everyone else just gets the basic action. And it's the kind of things you might expect. So Recruit lets you get more guys on the map. Crucially, there is these strongholds, and you can only recruit in areas where you have a stronghold. Marshall is one of the ways you can actually build your stronghold, and it's also how you move your people around the map. Each round when you pick Marshall, you can move each of your characters one space. Now, the map is quite important to just point out here. It's not simply a case of you can go from here to here. The shipping lanes become very important. So you can see there are certain routes here. So some of these are a lot more connected than they appear to be. So pinky purple here is only actually connected to this one adjacent region here. But orange is connected by a shipping to that one and to yellow. It's adjacent to this one, and there's also a shipping route that runs up here. So orange is connected to 5 different territories. So you really have to pay attention to that, because it's a lot easier to move in some areas than others. Train is another important one. Now, there's a bunch of cards. You can see, if I just look at this players here, these are some cards that a particular player has acquired throughout the game, and the cards will help you in various ways. So they might get you victory points. For example, when one of your guys is killed, you gain a victory point. This one says that your daimyo, some of your characters, here we go, this one, with the black base, this guy's kind of more powerful. He's immune to certain effects, and that would make him more powerful. But crucially, you can also get monster cards. And when you get the monster card, each monster has a special ability, and you kind of take the corresponding guy, I think it was this one here, and you get to sort of immediately recruit him, and he goes onto the map. And they're fantastic, I have to say. It's great fun playing with the monsters and moving around. They all have special abilities, so you really have to pay attention when you're in a fight as to, what does each of these different monsters do. Some of them will help you get points, some of them are just more powerful, some of them will sort of insta-kill other figures when they move into the area, so lots to think about there, which is nice. Harvest is an interesting action where you can see some of these territories let you get, this is the victory point symbol in here, so when you activate territories, if you have the most people in a territory, you're going to get a bonus, like you might get coins or points, or crucially, there are these Ronin, and you can get extra Ronin tokens, which are very powerful, that will help you in a fight. Now, speaking of fighting, after you've played all these actions, at the end of each season, the game's played over 3 seasons primarily, there are fights, but only in certain territories. There are these tokens that come out here, kind of randomly, that determine which areas will have fights in. And you put the little flags in there so you can see. So some areas had fights, but you see this one, for example, there was no fight in this region. So you can have people in there, but they're not going to fight at the end of the round. And when you have a fight, you secretly allocate money, they have these nice coins here, onto these different things. Now, you don't have to put any on the, but if you want to, you can do kind of special abilities in the fight. So you can seppuku and kill all your own guys and gain victory points that way. You can try and take a hostage, so kind of capture one of the enemy's people before you fight. And this is where you can get your Ronin to help you in the battle. Then you actually have the fight. This is another way of getting points when people are killed. But essentially, whoever has the most force they call it, but figures, although some of these will count as more than one, is going to win the fight, and every other figure in that region dies. Unless you're allied, your allies' figures won't die, which is quite nice. But yes, that's essentially how combat works. But for each of these, it's whoever put the most money on these things is going to get to take that ability, and no one else will. So only one person actually gets to take a hostage each round. Now, there's quite a lot more to it than I've really explained here, but hopefully that gives you a rough overview of what's going on. As I say, you play all these actions over 3 seasons, have a fight at the end of each season, count up some endgame scoring. There's a few cards, like these one give you points for endgame scoring, and crucially, the more of the tokens you won, every time you win a battle, you get one of these tokens, you get quite a lot of endgame scoring points for having some of those tokens, so that's something you're really going to aim for. Most points wins. What do we think?
I like the it uses different things to standard dudes on the map. I mean, it is dudes on the map ultimately at the end of the day, but the Puerto Rico tile card choice is good, though you do feel sometimes you don't get to make enough decisions, as in you don't actually get that many picks in real truth in a 5-player game. I prefer this combat to Cry Havocs, which are fairly similar as an idea, but there's more interest going on. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it is another Dudes on the Map game, but at least it has a lot of different ideas that I don't think I've seen before in this style of game.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying it's not my sort of game, but I've actually quite enjoyed it. It's got an honour system down here, so basically there's a lot to do with tie breaks. Your honour will break ties, and being able to break every tie for coins, tie for force, tie for this and tie for that, and whatever, by having higher honour is great. You've got a betrayal action, which means if you take that and you're allied, you lose honour, which makes sense, but the betrayal action is quite powerful. But we played a 5-player game, so every round there was someone who wasn't allied, they got to take the betrayal action, which is pretty good. But I really like this. I found that even when I lost a combat, I could have worked out a way that I could have put coins and not necessarily, having seen what other people played, to allow me to win every single well, not every single combat, but to do what I wanted to do. I could have put one there because he didn't put any there, and I could have done better there, and I could have saved coins. So it is possible to kind of deduce what people are going to do and do that, where it isn't just they've got more troops than me, I can't do anything. Well, you can put coins here to get points for dying. You can put coins here to kill yourself so they don't get to take you hostage, stuff like that. So that's really nice. I've no idea if it's balanced, but I've had a good time.
Tim?
Yeah, again, it's not the sort of thing that I would usually play, but I have had a really good time playing it. It's got a lot of clever little systems. The bidding in battle always gives you something to be thinking of, even if you know you're not in the battle. And the fact that you get the coins back from the winning player if you lose the battle, then is another great benefit, because you can be planning for the battles because you know the order that they're going to trigger in. Again, all the systems tie together really nicely. The fact that if you're allied, you get the benefit of someone else's token is great, and jostling for the honour and the extra actions that you can gain from the temples at the top was also another thing to keep in mind when you were playing. I think, like Mark said, the main drawback of this that I felt was the lack of times that you actually got to pick an action. I think I picked an action 4 times in the whole game. You always do have something useful you can do, but that just felt like I didn't have very much agency over what I was doing, and I do worry that it might just be more about buying the best cards than you would want it to be, but I still had a lot of fun playing with it.
Okay, rating?
I think it's an 8. It might go down to a 7 if I play it again.
Okay. Steve?
One bit I don't like about it, we checked the rules because every time it came up I just went, that doesn't make sense. In that if you either move someone from combat but the battle has started and they've got no other troops there, they still get to participate, they still get to add in reinforcements, they still get to take hostages, which doesn't make sense to me. So either we've been playing wrong, which I've been assured we haven't, but that little niggle, I think it's a good game. I'm probably only going to rate it a 7 though.
Okay. Mark?
I think I'd give it an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I had a great time. I came last. I didn't do very well. In fact, I didn't score any points at all until right at the end of the final season, but I did manage to score quite a lot at the end because of the end game scoring. There's a nice balance of all sorts of things, really. So in terms of moving your people around on the map, it's tricky. You can't move easily, and the fact that you're having to kind of piggyback off other people's actions gives you a lot to think about, which I like. I like the fact that there's quite a lot of different kinds of cards you can buy to customize your strategy. I mean, you really can, with the different sorts of monsters and things and the special abilities abilities you can add to your troops, you can become quite different from the other players, which is really nice. I like the honor system in terms of breaking ties. I was dead last in honor all the way through the game, but there are some monsters you can pick which give you benefits effectively for being last in honor. They have these Oni, the kind of the bad gods, if you like, and they worked out really well for me. So lots to think about. Really enjoyed it, and it is a blast. Really, it's not the kind of game that you're necessarily going to feel the most strategic player won, although there is plenty of strategy to it. But I really enjoyed it. I'd be on an 8.5. I think it's a great game. All right, thanks for watching. That was Rising Sun.